Now on CoastTV News.
Remembering former President Jimmy Carter, local reaction and the legacy of America's longest living president. A warning for poultry farmers as the bird flu is detected for the first time in years on Delmarva.
The brief showers from earlier this evening are starting to clear up, and we're looking for a sunny Monday. More on that coming up.
Please to help cold, stunned sea turtles, what you need to look out for.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Flags half-staffed to honor America's 39th president, Jimmy Carter. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf. Thank you for staying up with us after a late Sunday night football. We begin tonight with Delmarva and the world, remembering former President Jimmy Carter. Carter died today at the age of 100. Here you see people laying flowers at the organization bearing his name in line with Emory University, there in Atlanta. Carter's death immediately garnered reaction from all members of Delaware's congressional delegation, touching on Carter's presidency, yes, but more so his work with Habitat for Humanity and his Nobel Peace Prize. Delaware Governor John Carney speaking out saying, quote, "President Carter truly embodied what it means to be a public servant, and we are grateful for the legacy he leaves behind." President Joe Biden making remarks on Carter while on vacation in the Virgin Islands. Let's take a listen.
We may never see his like again. We'd all do well to try to be a little more like Jimmy Carter. You know, my mom, you've heard me say this before, used to say, bravery lives in every heart, and someday it'll be summoned. Every time it was summoned, he stepped up.
Now to hear how all of Delaware's congressional delegation remembered the former president, head to CoastTV.com, and we'll have much more on Jimmy Carter a little later in the newscast. Delaware's agricultural and environmental agencies confirm 40 birds have been reported to them as having bird flu, including snow geese in Prime Hook, who tested positive this week. The Department of Agriculture says farmers need to take precautions to protect their poultry and livestock. Here are some ways to do that. You can cover waste, remove standing water near barns and chicken houses. Don't move equipment through standing water, as that could track infected wildlife fecal matter into barns. Secure buildings to keep wild animals from coming in, and use decoys to scare devices and keep wild animals away. This is the first time in 2 years bird flu has been found on Delmarva, and it's also killing animals across the country. In Oregon, officials blamed a raw pet food product for the death of a house cat. In Washington state, a bird flu outbreak killed 20 big cats at a sanctuary. And a person in Louisiana was hospitalized with the bird flu. The CDC said the patient was likely exposed to the virus from a backyard flock. Now, if that's true, it's the first time backyard chickens have been associated with a bird flu infection in a human in the country. And take a lesson here as to why doctors find this once common illness quite concerning.
It hasn't been a major issue in humans because while it spreads among birds, it hasn't really spread among mammals. But now there is this mutation. And there's another concern now, major too, which is that we're in flu season. And it's possible that a single person could have bird flu and seasonal flu at the same time.
There's a lot more to this story. We have all the details, including what to do if you think you've seen an infected bird, right now on CoastTV.com. Well, this is a time of celebration for many, but according to the National Safety Council, drunk driving is at an all-time high. During the Christmas and New Year holiday periods, the council says 40% of traffic-related deaths involve drunk drivers. That's a 12% increase to the rest of December, and one vacationer hopes these efforts will cause less people from becoming a statistic.
It's good for anybody everywhere. Like, honestly, if you've had too much to drink, please call somebody, anybody.
Now, we'll have more on this story tomorrow morning on Coast TV News Today. And there are plenty of ways to get free rides this New Year's. Ocean City is offering free beach bus service starting 6 a.m. New Year's Eve until 3 a.m. New Year's Day. In Delaware, you can get $20 for a Lyft or Uber. That's a voucher through the Office of Highway Safety. You get it by going to mysoberrides.com and use it between 5 p.m. Tuesday to 2:30 a.m. on Wednesday. New tonight, the city of Milford says it has paused ongoing roadwork projects. The city says that's due to the holidays. Milford says construction will resume Monday, January 6th. As temperatures drop, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources says look out for cold-stunned sea turtles and other aquatic wildlife. This year already, over 850 sea turtles have been cold-stunned, most of those in Massachusetts, but up and down the Atlantic. If you see a lethargic sea turtle, please contact authorities. We have the hotline number online at CoastTV.com. New tonight, north on Delmarva, over 1,000 people were without power Sunday. Delaware Electric Co-op says that was Smyrna and Dover, and downed power lines were to blame for that. Maryland authorities putting out a reminder it's against the law to use styrofoam in the state. And tonight saying there's a $250 fine if you use the packaging. Unless the nation remembers former President Jimmy Carter, who dedicated his life after leaving office to brokering international peace. NBC's Lester Holt looks back at the life and legacy of the 39th President of the United States.
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
He went from being Jimmy Who to winning the White House itself, then struggled with crises overseas and a troubled economy at home. A one-term president whose time as ex-president was the longest.
Thank you all.
Among the most active in American history, becoming the first American president to celebrate his 100th birthday. James Earl Carter Jr., he always went by Jimmy, was born in small-town Plains, Georgia, growing up on a farm without electricity or indoor plumbing. He attended the U.S. Naval Academy, studied nuclear physics, worked in the nuclear submarine program. Carter married Rosalind Smith, a friend of his sister's, and she became his lifelong partner. When his father died, Carter left his military career and went home to run the family peanut farm. But he wanted something more. He got into politics, Georgia state senator, then governor.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
In the Old South, Carter was something new.
The time for racial discrimination is over.
He attracted national attention.
Would our first challenger enter and sign in, please?
But was still enough of an unknown in 1973 to appear on What's My Line? 1 year later,
I'd like to announce that I am a candidate for president.
after Watergate, the country was ready for a Washington outsider who said America deserved a government as good as its people. A born-again Christian who promised voters, "I will never lie to you."
We now have a projected winner, James Earl Carter of the state of Georgia, elected the next president of the United States.
Carter narrowly defeated Gerald Ford, becoming the first president from the Deep South in more than a century.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
He started with a common touch, an inaugural walk to the White House, a cardigan sweater to talk to the nation about the energy crisis.
There's no way that I or anyone else in the government can solve our energy problems if you are not willing to help.
He became a champion of human rights.
No member of the United Nations can claim that mistreatment of its citizens is solely its own business.
And the Camp David Accord showed Carter at his best, idealistic, tenacious, leading marathon talks between Egypt's Anwar Sadat and Israel's Menachem Begin, achieving a peace treaty that is still in place today. But closer to home, Carter's inexperience and his distaste for political rough and tumble became serious handicaps. And when the economy tanked, so did Carter's popularity. He seemed to blame Americans themselves.
The erosion of our confidence in the future.
He looked weak, photographed collapsing during a run. And it got worse. In Iran, scores of Americans were taken hostage.
I'm a candidate for President of the United States.
Ted Kennedy announced he would challenge Carter for the nomination. The Soviets invaded Afghanistan, prompting Carter to boycott the Moscow Olympics. Above all, the hostage crisis consumed Carter's final year in office.
Any encouraging news from Iran, Mr. President? No.
A mission to rescue the hostages ended in tragedy.
8 Americans had died, an unknown number of other Americans had been wounded.
It was my decision to attempt the rescue operation. The responsibility is fully my own.
Still hoping for a second term, Carter beat Kennedy, only to face an even more formidable opponent.
I'll bring new hope to America.
Ronald Reagan projected optimism and confidence, and he didn't think much of Carter.
There you go again.
Jimmy Carter lost in a landslide. And though he finally negotiated the release of the hostages, they weren't officially freed until just after he left office. Through it all, Carter was sustained by his faith.
You were faced with some huge crises as president. Did you drop down to your knees and pray?
Often, yes, often. In fact, I prayed more per day, per hour, while I was president than any other 4 years in my life.
And his defeat marked the beginning of a remarkable post-presidency. He established the Carter Center, committed to advancing human rights and democracy. He even got some respect from an old adversary.
You gave of yourself to this country, gracing the White House with your passion and intellect and commitment. For that, Mr. President, I thank you, and your country thanks you.
Carter built houses for the poor. He monitored elections, battled disease, and worked for peace around the world, sometimes at odds with his successors. He wrote dozens of books, and in 2002 was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. An extraordinary ex-president, proud of his years in the White House.
Kept the peace. We never went to war. We told the truth, never lied to the American people, never misled the American people. So in general terms, I feel perfectly at ease with my term.
Carter was diagnosed with cancer, determined to beat it while maintaining his typical collected demeanor.
I think I have been as blessed as any human being in the world. Everything's been a blessing for me, so I'm thankful and hopeful.
Despite the diagnosis, he continued building houses alongside Rosalind and marked their 75th wedding anniversary in 2021.
75 years, I can't predict.
Rosalind died 2 years later, marking the longest presidential marriage in history. In 2024, Carter marked another milestone, his 100th birthday, with an outpouring of gratitude for his life of service. He brought that devotion to everything he did for family and for country until the end.
That was NBC's Lester Holt. Monday morning on Coast TV News, tune in for more on the nation's reaction to President Carter's passing. And then, coming up Monday evening, keeping Ocean City safe. Tune in for more on how to curb drunk driving on the coast this new year.
Well, the winds along the beaches are starting to become very active, and especially by midweek. We'll talk about that and another round of rain headed our direction coming up.
And after that, a daring arrest, the crime spree in Sussex County you have to hear to believe. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just 60 seconds.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with the Ford crew.
Maverick, Ranger.
Another truckload of trucks?
Big event needs big selection. Right, like the Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. Gas, hybrid, electric, and big selection means great deals. Exactly, which means it's the best time to buy.
It's the final days to save with 1.9 for 60 months plus $1,000 holiday cash and no payments for 90 days on F-150.
DSN Plus is more energy, extra live games and on-demand replays, anytime, anywhere. DSN Plus is more hype. From playoff matchups in unified football to marching band showcases, we highlight what makes Delmarva unique. DSN Plus is more hometown pride. We go wherever our teams go, with up to 5 live games every weeknight. DSN is still free on air and cable, but get even more with DSN Plus, just $6.99 a month. Download the Delmarva Sports Network app from your app store today.
We've been tracking and keeping up with the rain that's been happening throughout the late night hours. Looks like it'll continue, well, a couple of sprinkles here and there, but another round of rain likely to pay us a visit on Tuesday and then becoming very breezy on Wednesday. Our boardwalk camera in Rehoboth right now at 53 degrees, and we're going to stay there. Now, we may have some lingering sprinkles until about, let's say, 2 o'clock in the morning. Being mindful of that, we're not looking at much in the way of accumulation, maybe about a half an inch in most locations. We're still tabulating as we go along. It's 59 degrees right now in Milton, Redden, Georgetown, as well as Delmarva at this hour. Now, we are seeing this initial wave that's pushing through. It's connected to this trough right here. And we have one isolated pocket of a storm that's actually being a little bit more active for us throughout Ocean City at this present time with heavy downpours. That's all that's indicating, not indicating any kind of hail. But we do have small craft advisories that have been activated along the shoreline for us, for not only the Sussex shoreline, but really Ocean Pines, Ocean City, all the way down towards Chincoteague. We're bracing for 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And that's not even the windiness that I was really referring to being a concern for this week. That's actually holding off until Wednesday. So this trough will push through. We have the last remnants of the scattered showers that's sliding through. And then we have this cold front that's actually to our west, and really more of an active opportunity for those winds to really kick in. Rainfall amounts are just starting to really tabulate because we've had rain, but it hasn't dumped much in the way of rain our way. We've had over 1/4 of an inch in Adamsville, but then about 1/10 of an inch for us, or slightly above that, for Seaford as well as Greenwood, Ellendale and Delmarva and Milford just getting on the board. Now at 1 o'clock, we could see another pocket of thunderstorm that'll pop through Lewis according to our model run. But then after that, we clear out pretty quickly and pretty efficiently, because even as we're going throughout the late night hours, we're not expecting much more in the way of rain, perhaps a little more possibly going to hit Bethany Beach between 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. But outside of that, we'll have to hold off until going into Tuesday, going to Wednesday for an opportunity for more scattered showers, or going into Tuesday, going to late Wednesday. So when you take a look at what's happening with the temperatures, they're going to dance right around to the 30s initially, but the winds are pushing out to the south for Tuesday. And so we'll see spotty showers flaring up for Tuesday, giving us a chance of another round of rain. Now, here's a little wider view of that same rain. As it begins to push across the eastern coast, we'll see those scattered showers begin to slide through, heavier up there towards Atlantic City, but then it'll pull out of the way going into Wednesday, and then that's when that breeziness, the winds that I've been referring to, that's when it'll really go in the increase. You see all these arrows here? Because there's so many of them, it indicates stronger winds coming across the Delmarva Peninsula, just in case you were wondering. Finally, here's a look at your Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodel Extended Forecast. Looking for windy conditions for us on Wednesday and rain on Tuesday.
All right, Paul, thank you. An eventful Friday in Sussex County. Follow me on this one, guys. Police say it began around 6:30 a.m. when they say Keamy Adkins stole a car from the shops at Longneck Boulevard. According to troopers, the car's owner was warming the car up, just left it running before they went to work. They went inside, came back, car was gone. Hours later, state police say they found the car by Potnet's Lakeside with Adkins driving. They said first he stopped, then drove away recklessly, jumped out of the moving car in the Avalon Woods area, causing the car to crash into the tree. And oh yeah, there was a passenger too. Police found Adkins later and said the friend in the passenger seat had asked multiple times, "Let me get out," was told could not do that. In addition to this, police say Adkins, who has now been arrested, had a suspended driver's license. It's almost 2025, and as we look back on 2024, there's no doubt one of the biggest stories of the year was the political season on the coast. And in Delaware, specifically Sussex, you can't think about any election without Return Day. So we spent the last 2 months digging into the history of the famous tradition where people return to the county seat to hear the returns of the election read out loud, just like they did in the 1800s. A hatchet is buried, opponents come together, and they mark the end of the political season.
All of the United States needs to follow those practices of bipartisanship, loving your community, reaching out that hand to support one another. And I think the healing process needs to be done everywhere.
You can learn all about this wonderful history. There's even some international elements Monday at 6. The history of Return Day, Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Coast TV News. Still to come on Coast TV News, a battle between two top teams of Maryland and California at the Governor's Challenge basketball tournament. That story after this.
At the Delmarva Design Center, appliances, cabinetry, countertops, tile, and flooring come together in one showroom. We have specialists in each division, like myself, in flooring to ensure you not only have the best product to fit your needs, but that your selection flows seamlessly with your remodel.
They know the litany and the bandwidth of products within your budget and based upon your design that can fit your needs.
Delmarva Design Center. Great design starts with great inspiration. Selbyville, Delaware.
Ride the wave of Delmarva's vibrant coastal vibes with Coast Life.
From hidden gems to sun-kissed trends and captivating local tales. Dive deep and immerse yourself in our coastal rhythm. Catch Coast Life weekdays at 4 on Coast TV.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
You're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
Mondays at 5 on Big 1077. It's time to huddle up and talk football.
We're talking touchdowns, tackles, and everything in between. From game-changing plays to the latest news around the league.
We'll take a deep dive into all of the plays that made a difference.
We'll see you in the end zone.
Catch the End Zone, Mondays at 5 on Big 1077. Sponsored by Tyndall's Casual Furniture and North Star Heating and Air Conditioning.
Coming up, it's an exclusive television event.
It's not easy or comfortable.
Drew, her audience, and guests make up free for the first time with Pamela Anderson.
Monday at noon on Coast TV.
In sports, a Maryland versus California showdown on the basketball court at the Governor's Challenge. Here is the Delmarva Sports Network's Michelle Roberts as the competition enters its final day.
In a top matchup on night 4 of the Governor's Challenge, DeMatha Catholic, who is ranked 30th in the nation by Max Preps, facing SoCal Academy with 3 Power 5 commits in their starting lineup. In the first quarter, the DeMatha Stags building an 8-0 lead as Cade Sebastian, the American commit, hitting the triple. He had 9 total points in this matchup, and the Stags staying connected as Charles Thomas slams it down. He put up 10 points for his team and more from DeMatha. Ashton Meeks draining it from downtown. He had 13 points in this game. But SoCal's offense coming alive. A 2-handed up and under dunk by Calvin Odie, who is committed to West Virginia. And then the Bears knocking down some shots from the perimeter, but an answer from DeMatha as they led SoCal by 2 points at half. And despite Calvin Odie dropping 16 points for the Bears, DeMatha tops SoCal Academy 52-42. The Stags are 2-2 in the tournament, and SoCal is now 1-1. The Bears take on Riverdale Baptist from Maryland tomorrow. To a bracket championship, Seton Hall Prep of New Jersey taking on St. George's Tech from Middletown, Delaware. The Hawks started strong in the first quarter with defense turning into offense. Amir Rhodes with the block. Then on the other end, Shane Davis sinks a 3 for the Hawks. Staying with St. George's, Davis and Rhodes working together for 2 more points. The Hawks out to a 7-0 start. But then the Pirates turning on the full court press, starting to rip the ball away from the Hawks, and Daniel Bazer laying in 2 for Seton Hall as the Pirates go on to win 64-46 for the bracket championship. St. George's Tech goes 1-1 at the Governor's Challenge. And tomorrow is the final day of the Governor's Challenge, with local teams back in action starting at 10 a.m. and running through 8:30 p.m., all live on DSN and DSN+. Reporting from Salisbury, Maryland for the Delmarva Sports Network, I'm Michelle Roberts.
Ahead on Coast TV News at 11, a possible reprieve for Big Lots. How many stores will be saved despite bankruptcy? And any on the peninsula? Stay with us. But first, still making New Year's Eve plans? We'll show you how to celebrate Delmarva style next.
Mark your calendars for the Children's Beach House Gala presented by Jack Wingo Realtors and Jack Wingo Asset Management on February 8 in Dewey Beach. This black tie evening features an open bar, auctions, dinner, and a performance by Kristen and the Noise. Your support helps empower children with special needs to build confidence, develop leadership skills, and thrive in a caring community. For more info, visit cbhinc.org/gala or call 302-841-9639. Sponsored by Coast TV.
Attention employers on Delmarva. The Delmarva Job Fair, sponsored by the Stokely Center and the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, is back. Join us Saturday, February 1st from 10 to 2 at Delaware Tech in Georgetown. Connect with over 1,000 job seekers all in one place and grow your team. Secure your spot today at the most successful job fair on Delmarva. Go to WBOCevents.com. The Delmarva Job Fair, where great employers meet great talent.
Once upon a time in Rehoboth Beach was a lost little elf, his home far from reach. When all of a sudden he saw a twinkling sign. A magical winter village? Could it be mine? His eyes grew wide as he walked through the doors. The North Pole, you say? No, Shellville, of course. A magical maze was his first stop on the tour. Wasting no time at all, he set out to explore. With so much to discover and so much to do, he knew for a fact all his dreams would come true. After all the excitement, he needed a treat, a warm, tasty beverage to help move his feet. No longer did he feel so lost and alone. Our brave little elf had found a new home.
Basketball is back, and it's nothing but net on the Delmarva Sports Network. From tip-offs to buzzer-beating plays, don't miss a moment of the action. High school hoops all season long on DSN and DSN+.
It's almost time to say goodbye 2024 and hello 2025. And let me tell you, Delmarva has some of the most unique New Year's traditions. Starting in Lewis, the Overfalls Foundation is hosting its annual Anchor Drop. A lighted anchor will descend from the ship's mast as the crowd counts down to midnight. Over in Dewey Beach, the Crush Drop honors Delaware's official state drink. You can watch the iconic Orange Crush lower at Oceanside, New Orleans Street. Chincoteague has the Pony Island Horseshoe Drop, featuring a promenade of wild costumes before the horseshoe lights up the final seconds of 2024. Princess Anne is known for the Muskrat Dive, where Marshall Muskrat glides down a zip line in his signature top hat. In Easton, the celebrations include a crab drop, a classic Eastern Shore tradition, or for a more simple celebration, you can head to Ocean City for some fireworks. And for all the details, just head to CoastTV.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
Well, Big Lots says it has struck a deal that would keep 200 stores open. That's under the proposed agreement with Variety Wholesalers. Variety Wholesalers says the stores will operate under the Big Lots brand. It might employ the employees already there. Now, locally, we have Big Lots in Seaford, Dover, and Salisbury. And new tonight in your health news, positive flu tests rose 12% for the week ending December 21st compared to the week prior. That's according to the CDC. Typically, flu activity starts around Halloween and peaks in February. But this year, the virus got off to a later start, activity just picking up in recent weeks. President-elect Donald Trump is asking the Supreme Court to pause an upcoming ban on TikTok in the U.S. that's supposed to start January 19th, unless the platform is sold to a U.S. company. In his first administration, Trump unsuccessfully tried to ban TikTok in the U.S. by executive order. But Friday, in a legal filing, he asked justices to pause the ban so his administration can have time to find middle ground and keep the app running. The move comes after Trump met with the platform's CEO earlier this month. Well, do you fancy yourself a photographer? When you can enter to win a big prize in Bethany Beach.
And right now we're tracking one storm that's actually showing characteristics of some hail that's falling to the east of Newark. We'll talk more about the rain that I'm tracking coming up in a moment.
It's that time of year again to get the Honda of your dreams during Happy Honda Days, where you'll find great offers on an efficient CR-V hybrid, spirited Accord hybrid, sporty Civic hybrid, and the all-electric Prologue. Don't wait, turn your dreams into reality with a new Honda, named KBB.com's best overall EV and hybrid brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today.
These fields are empty now, but soon they'll be alive.
Some teams can only dream to play it because they can't afford it. And that is why Toyota is sponsoring Delmarva's Dream Team.
We're looking for teams from any sport and any level. Each month, your Delmarva Toyota dealer will give one local team a $1,000 grant. And after the year, one finalist will receive an additional $3,000.
Nominate your dream team at delmarvasportsnetwork.com under the Features tab.
DSN's Delmarva's Dream Team, sponsored by your local Toyota dealer.
Start the new year off generously by giving to those in need on Delmarva. Coast Country Cares is hosting a Code Purple Drive on Saturday, January 11th at Boulevard Ford in Georgetown. Stop by from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to donate non-perishable food items, warm clothing, cleaning supplies, and more for shelters and those who need it most this winter. For a complete list of items for January 11th, go to coastcountry.com. Coast Country Cares, sponsored by Spicer Brothers.
Welcome to the Final Score right here on the Delmarva Sports Network.
Watch Delmarva's only live and local sportscast, Final Score on DSN.
What a win. So glad we were able to capture it on DSN.
5 days a week, the Final Score is bringing you live coverage of local sports teams and games.
And Kobe Annals goes for the one-hand jam and helps his team to the big victory.
The Final Score, weeknights at 10:30 p.m., only on Delmarva's Sports Network. DSN Plus is more energy, extra live games and on-demand replays, anytime, anywhere. DSN Plus is more hype. From playoff matchups in unified football to marching band showcases, we highlight what makes Delmarva unique. DSN Plus is more hometown pride. We go wherever our teams go, with up to 5 live games every weeknight. DSN is still free on air and cable, but get even more with DSN Plus, just $6.99 a month. Download the Delmarva Sports Network app from your app store today.
It's time for tonight's Holiday House. On your screen right now, you will see Rhiannon's puppy Benny loving the tree from Millsboro. Thank you, Benny and Rhiannon. We want to see more of your bright lights and festive setups and cute pups. We're doing it through the new year, so send your pictures and videos to coasttv.com/holidayhouse, Paul.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look outside Bay Health and Milford. We still have some rain that's falling in some isolated pockets with 59 degrees, 57. And we're looking at the rain coming to an end for us actually in Milford. Doesn't look like we're going to have another wave that's going to come through actively. By the way, you can always keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. Just a forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Baird, Mandalas, Brusted, and Federico. So let's take a look at what's happening with our rain. We had this isolated cell that's actually just crossed out into the water. Now it's starting to show characteristics of creating an opportunity for some hail for just a few moments. Now it's just doing heavy downpour action for us for the most part. We're clearing out. We do have the small craft advisory that's active throughout the coastal region of the entire Delmarva Peninsula. So we're watching out for 25-mile-per-hour winds. That's just for right now, not even including how breezy it's going to be for Wednesday. An updated roster on what's happening with the numbers. Almost a half an inch in Adamsville, or a third of an inch or more than that in Seaford and Greenwood, just shy of a quarter of an inch in Laurel, Ellendale, Milford, and over a tenth of an inch of rain officially right now at Bethany Beach. Our expectations for tomorrow, we're looking for temperatures to stay in the 50s, get a couple of sprinkles developing late Monday going into Tuesday, but that's looking iffy at best. Take a look. Tuesday, we're looking at the better chance of scattered showers, actually. 57. Wednesday, breezy for us in Chincoteague. Same holds true for us in Assateague. Now, Wednesday is going to be our significantly windier day. Like, we're looking at 35 to 40-mile-per-hour winds a possibility. Ocean City and Fenwick Island will have to deal with the same situation. And then we're watching for rain on Tuesday in Lewis and in Rehoboth Beach. And then the winds picking up for Wednesday and Thursday for Lewis and Rehoboth. Now, this is the difference between the two because we go into a great deal of detail depending on where you are on the coast. Lewis and Rehoboth, 2 days of very windy conditions. Just keep that in mind. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. We're looking for sunshine on Monday, but Tuesday, the rain kicks in, and Wednesday, don't forget that wind.
All right, Paul, thank you. Hey, Bethany Beach wants photos for the next calendar. According to Bethany Beach Events and Entertainment, the theme is Fun and the Sun. The contest opens, well, actually now, December 30th through January 24th. Winners get a parking pass. Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News after Sunday Night Football. For more news and local weather, download our app. We'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News today, starting at 5. Have a great night.